Unfortunately, we have had to witness this surge in anti-Semitism, and Kanye West going off on his rants definitely has not helped kill all this nasty rhetoric. So this week, the White House decided to take some more action and actually host a panel led by Second Gentleman Doug Emhoff, who is Jewish. Emhoff talked about his own background and why all this hate is so hurtful.
Anti-Semitism is dangerous. We cannot normalize this. We all have an obligation to condemn these vile acts. We must all of us cannot stay silent.
And the Anti-Defamation League also found more than 500 reported anti-Semitic incidents have taken place so far this year. That is way up compared to 2021. New York Times Magazine contributor Mireille Silcoff and also activist Malynda Hale join me for more. Well, I've seen what both of you have been doing online and in print, and it's incredible, ladies, what you're doing, your voices, taking on topics that a lot of people just don't want to talk about. And Mireille, I want to start with you. You know, we covered Kyrie Irving and now Kanye West. What kind of power do you think these celebs really have here when it comes to this type of hate? And what's your opinion with regard to the options we have here, especially as journalists with a platform? Do we call them out, or is it better to ignore them?
I mean, you're asking a really good question. You know, when I first wrote the essay for the New York Times Magazine, which dealt a lot with Kanye and the things that he was saying, a lot of people wrote in and kind of said, well, why are you giving this guy a platform, right? Why are you helping him out, basically, by putting him even further into the media? And the answer is because Kanye West has a huge amount of influence, right? Kanye West has twice as many followers online as there are Jews, you know? So it's you can't ignore someone with this kind of clout. It's just, it's unignorable. He is a huge force in the middle of the mainstream spouting hate. And so there's a difficulty of do you know, write articles about him and kind of fuel the fire in a way, or do you sit and just kind of ignore? I think the smarter thing to do is not just to call it out, but to call it out as much as you can, to talk about it as much as you can, to say it's not cool as much as you can, and to hope that you can spread understanding through a lot of talk. I mean, I could be wrong, but a lot of talk, a lot of writing, a lot of coverage. Just keep on going, because if you just ignore it, there's all kinds of stuff festering online in places you couldn't even imagine. When I first started writing this article, I thought that I would encounter, you know, a crappy weekend of looking at anti-Semitism online. And instead, what I found was truly a bottomless cesspit of hate that I could never get to the end of if I sat online for 10 years. So bringing everything to the surface, in my opinion, is of utmost importance.
And that's what both of you are doing. And Malynda, you are so active on social media, which of course has created a lot of advocacy and conversation. I just want to play a little bit of what you put out there recently.
What I'm really bothered by is the participation of anti-Semitism and rhetoric from marginalized groups, given the fact that most marginalized groups hate when they are put in this box of the stereotypes and these negative tropes, but you're completely fine with participating in those same type of stereotypes and negative tropes when it comes to the Jewish community. It's giving hypocrite.
And you have talked, Malynda, so much about standing up against anti-Semitism, but now you're bringing in also the conversation for this need for Black Jewish unity and how that needs to come into the fold now. Talk more about that.
Yeah, I mean, historically, the Black community and the Jewish community, we have always been allies. You know, you go back to when Jewish people fled from Nazi Germany, HBCUs were one of the only places that welcomed them in and gave them jobs in a place where they found solace. And also, Jewish community marched with the Black community in the civil rights movement. So not having that allyship currently is really breaking my heart to see, because historically, we have always been so aligned. There are so many many parallels between anti-Semitism and anti-Blackness. So there's a level of empathy from me that I see within the Jewish community and what they're experiencing, and based on my own experience as a Black woman in America. And I wish that we had more of that unity and people were realizing that, so that we would work together to fight the overarching issue, which is truly white supremacy. White supremacy is targeting all of these marginalized groups, but when we're fighting against each other and not working together, white supremacy is what wins.
But why is that, Malynda? Why? I mean, you would think with that history with the Jewish people and the Black people understanding hate and being discriminated against, and as you point out, there had initially been and still is very much a bond. What's going on here? Why is that just not so obvious? Why are people buying Kanye's garbage?
Well, I think first and foremost, we've gotten into this mindset of me really recently. I'm not even recently. I just think over years, it's become an internal thing where you want to focus on your own community struggles, and fix the problems within your community. And people aren't looking outside, seeing that when people band together, that's when you actually can get the results that you want. That's when we make progress. And I think that that's really what it lies into. Now, when it comes to Kanye, for someone like him who came from Chicago, from the inner city, I understand people looking up to him, viewing him as a role model. He got out, he made it. He was relentless in his pursuit for having his career and wanting to make it. But because he has this platform, he has a responsibility to these people. So when he is spewing hateful rhetoric and making these mistakes, and he's participated in anti-Blackness even as well, even though he is a Black man, these people are looking up to him because that may be their one role model they've had their entire life. It's hard to turn your back on something that you've believed in, someone you've believed in, and someone you've followed for such a long time. But I think that there is a way to support Kanye in getting better and doing better, but not supporting what he's saying.
We have to remember a big part of that, too, is, and Mireille, we should be talking more about the fact that Kanye West struggles with mental illness. I mean, we're kind of forgetting about that, right? And that is a problem, too. That is sort of the elephant in the room. That is something that a lot of people don't like to talk about. But even his ex-wife has talked about it. He is mentally ill, and that plays a part in all of this.
It does play a part in it.
It does play a part.
Go ahead, Mireille, go ahead. And Malynda, I'll let you weigh in. Mireille, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
It does play a part in it, but it's really interesting that a manifestation, the immediate manifestation of a mental illness would be anti-Semitism. Like, that says something, that one of the first manifestation of, Kanye's bipolar disorder or whatever it might be would be hatred for the Jews, which just shows you how Jew hatred, anti-Semitism is this historical scapegoating. It's a historical wedge that works within European and American society in a certain way. And to speak to what Malynda was saying, white supremacy, nothing better for white supremacy than putting a wedge between, let's say, the Jewish community and the Black community. And that is exactly what anti-Semitism is doing now. And one thing that's being forgotten constantly is that Jews are a multiracial people. Jews are not just white. There are brown Jews, there are Black Jews, there are white Jews. So pitting Jews as being the ultimate white people is just a mistake, the way most anti-Semitic tropes are. But that's something that needs to be remembered as well, and something that needs to be trumpeted.
I see Malynda nodding her head. Malynda, go. You've got the floor.
Yes, no, you took so many of the words right out of my mouth. I couldn't agree more, especially forgetting that the Jewish community does encompass so many different ethnicities within them. You are alienating those people, and you have to remember that they are included in this conversation as well. But going back to the mental illness aspect of it, I think the biggest problem that I'm having is that when you see somebody that clearly is having a mental breakdown and then hate becomes the symptom of that, and you're putting a microphone in front of his face, you're just perpetuating the problem even further. And I think for Kanye, sadly, he figured the easiest way to get people on his side was probably to participate in anti-Semitism, because anti-Semitism is something that has been completely normalized in this country. in the same way that a lot of anti-Blackness has been normalized. So he found a way in. He has people on his side, people that normally wouldn't be on his side if they just viewed him as a Black man, but they see him as Kanye, the celebrity. He's spewing hateful rhetoric that they would normally want to spew as well, and they're co-signing with everything that he's saying and not getting him the help that he needs and telling him that he needs to take a step back and just be quiet.
Ladies, I want people to know all about you. I'm just going to, Malynda, you're a singer, an actress, an activist. You got to check out your podcast, #We Need to Talk. Yes, we do. We will keep talking. Mireille, I've seen all the books you have written. You are organizing discussions and salons and events about this very topic. Ladies, I admire you both so much and appreciate you in this discussion. Let's keep it going.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, ladies.
Thank you so much.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.